my loves, if you're new here, my name is Lily. I am an anxious girl who loves to read, and if you're not new here, then welcome back. So yesterday I watched Emmy's video. I'm gonna tag her below and put her TikTok and YouTube page somewhere around here. I watched her How Much Can I Read in a Week video, and I love those types of videos, so I thought why not make one myself. And I think it could be really interesting to do one because this is the last week that I'm at mum's. I travel home next week, so I thought it could be interesting to see how much I read when I'm here and I'm like out and about a bit more, because I'm visiting my grandparents. Tomorrow I'm going to visit my grandparents. I'm seeing my dad on Tuesday. You know, I'm still like studying. I'm also doing my work placement, my assignments for my work placement, because that's attached to like my school stuff. It's a part of a course that I'm taking at the same time as I'm writing my dissertation, which is taking a lot of time. And you know, in the evenings, like when I'm at home alone, I'm like reading in the evenings, like for hours, because you know I can. But when I'm here, mum kind of wants to like watch something together and I want to spend time with her, and so I don't want to be rude and sit and bury my nose in a book. So I know that I read less when I'm here at my mum's, but I thought that if I do one when I'm here, then I can do one again when I'm at home, and I can also kind of see the difference, like how much of a difference is there. So I think that could be really interesting. And today's Sunday, so the video is going to officially start tomorrow. And the last book that I read, or the last two books that I read, one was a really good fantasy that I'm doing a collaboration with, so when this video comes out, that collab will be up on my book talk. That one was really good, but it was a kind of dark, you know, a morally black MMC and FMC, and it was, as much as I loved it, it was dark and kind of heavy with a lot of world building and, you know, all that good stuff that fantasy has. But then I at the same time read another kind of fantasy that was just odd and dark, a bit in a different way. Like there was a scene where she had to fuck his dad and then him in front of a bunch of people in order to be like accepted into the basilisk family, and everyone kind of went into a frenzy and started fucking each other and transforming and started fucking each other in the basilisk forms, which almost killed her. And then, you know, they had to fuck all night long just because she had to like prove her mettle, because apparently basilisks are very sexual creatures. And there was a point where he started transforming as he was having sex with her, and I don't know whether it was the size of his dick or the force of his humping, but he broke her goddamn pelvis. And that's when I felt like I'm so far down the rabbit hole right now that there's no point of light and there's no white little rabbit that's gonna lead me out of these caves. So I just had to keep going until I got to the other side. And now I'm out the other side, and I really need a fun, fluffy, cute romance read. So we are starting this video off with Coach by Devney Perry. This is on my March TBR, and this is a football star, single dad, and I think second romance book. And I feel like it's exactly what I need, you know, because that other book was not my cup of tea. But you know, that's the thing with reading and books. You're gonna pour yourself a cup of tea, try the flavor. If you love the flavor, you might keep trying more similar flavors. If you don't love the flavor, then you're gonna pour it out and never pick it up again. And there's some flavors that you're gonna become obsessed with and come back to time and time again. And those are the best. Not every tea you try can be that obsessed flavor, you know? Did that make sense? I don't think that made sense. I'm picking up a variation of a flavor that I know works for me. And I loved the whole, you know, Indigo Ridge, Juniper Hill series that Devney Perry wrote. Juniper Hill, the second book in that series, is my absolute favorite of that series. So I know that I love Devney Perry's writing. And, you know, a sports romance always hits. And single dad, like, ever since Elsie Silver, I'm a slut for single dads. So, you know, we don't mind that. So it will officially start tomorrow, this video, but I am going to start this today. But unless I do a speed reading and finish this evening, I'm still going to be reading this tomorrow. But I am very excited. I am excited to do this challenge, to, you know, keep track of how many pages I'm reading, but I'm also really excited to be filming on my new camera because I splashed and I got myself a new camera and I am obsessed with it. So hopefully my videos are going to look a hell of a lot more better now. And let's just jump right into it. So I'll see you tomorrow. So this is the pile of books that I have read since I've been at my mum's. I brought 3 of these that I haven't read because I've read Crescent City and I've read the Game of Thrones books, and I brought those 2 for my dissertation because Crescent City is part of what I'm doing my Crescent City is part of what I'm doing my dissertation on, so I felt like I needed a copy, so I brought one of my copies. And then from the beginning I thought that I was going to do a comparison with Game of Thrones, but we changed courses and I no longer need it, so it was very unnecessary for me to have lugged it back and forth, but I'm going to be leaving it here when I go home with my mum. Oh, that's an adorable little dog. Apart from 3 of these, I bought all of these and read them when I've been here at mum's. So this is the pile of books that I have read. And then, you know, along with Coach, these are the 2 that I have yet to read, which are, I can't speak, which are probably the other 2 that we will be reading in this video. I also have my Kindle here, so I could pick up something on my Kindle if I feel like it. I just finished Coach and this was exactly what I needed. This was a cute, fast-paced, sweet second chance romance that just, I don't know what it is about Devney Perry, but I go through her books so quickly. Like, they're so easy to like inhale and just get completely stuck in, even if they're not like the most epic love stories ever. They're just like very comforting. So this is gonna end up being a 3.5 star, and the only reason that it's not like bumped up to a 4 star is that I felt like, because they were friends 10 years ago and like best friends, we didn't really get that falling in love experience, because they had been in love with each other for 10 years when the book starts, but they just hadn't been with each other. But like the tension was really good, and the like it was just so cute and comforting that it has to be a 3.5 star. But I would have wanted to experience them, like, I don't know, we didn't get that depth because we didn't get to experience them falling in love. But we did get the tension, so that was really good. And I really, really want to pick up the next book. What I really want to do is pick up the third book, because the book characters introduced in this, that the second they were introduced, I was like, I really hope that they have a book, you know? Because the fourth book just came out like the 11th of March this year. So if that's the entire series, then I could binge the entire series, but they're really expensive to get physically. Like, one copy here in Sweden is really expensive, and I'm not about to put like £20 on a pocket, so I'm getting it on my Kindle. The next book is Blitz, and then it's Rally that I really want to read, so I'm basically reading Blitz so that I can read Rally. But the second book of the like Indigo Ridge series was my favorite, so the second book might surprise me and that might become my favorite. But the point of this video is to see how many pages I read. It's Monday today. I had like 40 minutes to read at the cafe today, and then I've just spent the entire evening reading this. So I started today on page 95 and I ended on the last page of this book, which was page 337. So I read 242 pages today, which is a lot more than I expected to. But as I said, Devney Perry has a way of just pulling me in and not letting me go. So it was easy to go through this entire thing. And I might start the next book tonight right before I go to sleep, or I'm going to start it tomorrow. But I'm going to get it on my Kindle immediately so I can jump into it the second I want to. So the 2 fantasy books that I have physically are going to have to wait for a little bit. But I don't have that much to do this week, so I might be able to get to one of those as well. It depends, we'll see. If you want like a cute, cozy, comfortable romance where it's like, it's not too much drama, it's all very realistic, and they're adults who are like actually communicating, this is definitely for you. I mean, they're in their 30s and he's a single dad. He knows how to communicate and we love that. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, guys. Well, good lunch. Afternoon. It's like 3:15. But I woke up with a lot of period pains this morning and I had a collaboration that I needed to film. So I popped some painkillers, did my makeup, filmed that, edited it, and then I posted it. So that is up. And that was really all I had to do today. I'm meeting my dad in like half an hour for a coffee. You can see my mother in the background. Like I told you yesterday, I finished Coach 3.5 stars, and I immediately jumped into Blitz that very same night. The thing is, I think I'm going to stick to the page count that I ended on last night, because I finished Coach before midnight, but then I started Blitz after midnight, and I read about like 120 pages after midnight before I went to sleep. Because I started that at like 1:30 in the middle of the night, which might have been a bad idea. And I kind of read until like a little bit before 3, so I haven't slept that much either. So, you know, feeling good, feeling steady. But I'm going to count those 100 and something pages towards Tuesday's full count, because technically I started it on the Tuesday. I've been going a bit back and forth with this, but I think that's what's going to make it easiest on me. And you know, it is technically Tuesday, or it was technically Tuesday when I started it, and it's still Tuesday today. So I'm like 35% into Blitz. I will probably finish that today, because by measuring Coach and the first like 1/3 of Blitz, it's really easy to read through. I'm having a good time. I really like it. We love A Man Who Yearns, like the Yearning. Definitely Perry is so good at the Yearning in these books and in the like Indigo Ridge books, but this is on a different level. So I'm really enjoying that, and I'm really looking forward to the third book because, as I said, that's the one that I want to read the most, the one I'm the most excited for. So the only thing that's keeping me from reading today is spending some time with my dad. I think we may have just found out who the fourth book is going to be about. I really hope it's going to be Maverick and Stevie's love story where something happened when they were children and it's children enemies to adult lovers instead of childhood friends to lovers. Wouldn't that be amazing? I'm so excited for the third book, but hello. I'm so excited for the third and fourth book. I have cozied down with 2 blankets and some Swedish sweets, a bit of chocolate and some sours. I have a big I'm in focus, good. I have a big massive glass of water. Friends is on the telly, and I have my Kindle with my little controller page swapper thingy in hand, and I'm just reading. I'm waiting for a package. It's going to arrive at my door in less than an hour, and it's new headphones, over-ear headphones from Sony, where the camera's from, because my old school cord ones, I almost hit myself in the face with them. I love the cord ones, but they keep breaking and I keep having to buy new ones over and over again, and it's really annoying. And these over-ear ones are apparently supposed to have really good sound and really long battery life, so I'm really hoping that's true. So I might become a modern girly and swap to Bluetooth headphones and abandon my dear corded headphones. Let's have a minute to mourn them. Alright, minute's over. Let's get back to reading. I'm on page 129. I didn't have time to read before I had to leave to go meet up with Dad because it was later than I thought it was. So I've just sat down to read and I'm still on 36%, so I haven't gotten very far yet. But this is where my evening is going to be spent. And I need a new painkiller soon because it's starting to wear off. So I'm going to have to grab that in a minute. Or maybe I can ask my mum to bring it so that I don't have to move.
Paint me a scene, city in color, the way that you see, the way you see it. Don't you wish that I could give you everything?
Good afternoon. It's officially Wednesday. I took a shower this morning. I haven't taken any painkillers, which is why I'm laid out on the couch. I really need to study. I'm in too much pain to study. So I don't know. I'm resting and I'm reading, and I just started. And as you probably saw, I finished Blitz last night. I don't know if I told you. I can't remember if I filmed. The brain fog is too big to remember if I filmed last night and talked to you guys or not. But I finished Blitz and I started Rally. I only got like 51 pages in, so I think I read 405 pages yesterday. And I mean, it's great timing that I found this sports romance series by Debney Perry that I could just inhale for this video and read much more than I guessed that I would. Because I said in the beginning of this video that, like, since I'm at mum's, I'm not reading as much as I normally do. And then I got my period, which is putting me on the couch. And I also found this great series that I'm binging. So I don't know how truthful. Actually, you know what? This is probably quite truthful. But sometimes I'm in more of a slump and I don't read as much. But I am quite a feral reader still. But Blitz, I'm ending up on a 3-star for Blitz because it was good, but because of the like forbidden romance, every interaction that the love interests had with each other had to be kind of quick because they weren't allowed to see each other, which, you know, because it's a teacher-student romance kind of, even though she isn't his I can't speak. Even though she wasn't his student, he was a coach at the university and she was a student at the university, which means that they weren't allowed to be together. So it was an age gap forbidden romance. And I felt like it just made the relationship lack depth. Not necessarily that it was shallow, it just lacked depth. And it was like insta attraction that kind of became insta love, and then there was this like underlying mystery plot thing that was resolved in the very last chapter, or like in the very last chapter that kind of climaxed. Poor choice of words, but I can't remember a better word for it. And then in the epilogue we were kind of told how it was resolved instead of like getting to experience it. So that just felt, the whole book felt kind of slow, and then the ending was like really fast. So I just felt like it wasn't that well balanced in that way, but I still inhaled it and I still had a relatively good time. It was still a good book. It just didn't give me that, like, I wasn't as invested as I wanted to be. So that's why it's ending up being a 3-star. But I'm only 53 pages now into Rally. I'm having my Kindle here. And I'm laying down with my Kindle in front of my face to read. So this is the view. I don't know if you, but that's the view. And I can already tell that Rally is definitely for me. This was the book that I was looking forward to the most, and it's already like, it's giving everything I wanted to be giving. Like the first chapter, I was giggling, kicking my feet. Like just the very first interaction between these two love interests is dual POV, so we also get both of their point of views, and just like their banter, and it's just, I'm like obsessed already. I love Rush, I love Faye, I'm in love with this book already, so I'm having a great time. So I'm gonna keep reading. And then maybe a bit later I might get some studying done. But I couldn't even be bothered to sit up to film this for you guys, because then I would have to set up the camera and I was just like, I can't be bothered. I can't sit up. Like just laying like this kind of lopsidedly, I don't know. The bags beneath my eyes could carry me to the moon. It's will drag me down to hell. I don't know which one it is. I don't know if it's my period or the book, but I've been crying for like the last 30% of this book. But it's so sweet. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with Rush. I'm obsessed with Faye. And just the found family trope is hitting. Like, I'm crying so hard, and it's all this thing's fault. Jesus. That's all. I'm 281 pages in, 77%. So I'll probably finish this tonight. And then I got the next book from Amazon immediately. It's loaded and waiting. Because I saw that it was Maverick's book, and I'm really interested. It's the one that I was talking about earlier with the childhood enemies to lovers, to adult lovers instead of childhood friends to lovers. And I'm really excited for that, but I am loving this. Right now, this is on its way to be a 5-star. I'm obsessed. But I'll probably cry some more. I'm like Faye, crying all the time. Just that she's crying for a lot of different reasons than I am. Quite kind of the opposite reason. Because my reason is the opposite of her reason. If that makes sense. It's funny that I don't want to have kids, but for some reason, when it's done like it is in this, I'm a goddamn sucker for the pregnancy trope. Like, I can love a pregnancy trope, unpopular opinion, but like when the pregnancy trope is done like it is in this, and not like, you know, the shitty where they're trying to like have a strong powerful woman have to step out of the picture because all of a sudden she feels ill, and you're like, oh, she's pregnant, and oh, this is gonna ruin the story. This is not that. This is not that. This is, you know, her claiming her strength and claiming her life and making a choice for herself. And, you know, just Rush is the most supportive, the sweetest. Like, if you want Yearning, if you love Yearning, this Wildcat series, I think it's called the Treasure State Wildcat series or something like that, in every single book, the man yearns so freaking hard for the woman, and I am obsessed. And Rush is the elite yearner. Like, he is the best of all the men in this book so far. Like, I want to marry him. He's not real, but if I could marry a fictional character, Rush is up there. Rush Ramsey is climbing into my top 10. Like, God, this man. I love him.
Paint me a scene, city in color, the way that you see, the way you see it. Don't you wish that I could give you? I could give you everything. If you wanna run ahead, I'll meet you where the water meets the earth we cling to. If you wanna find the a place I cling to. Weightless, floating through the day. Trust that I'll be okay. I'm happy alone. Waiting for you. Wait until you realize. Weightless,
Mess, if you can't tell. But this book, I think I read 2 5-stars in a row. And I cried through like most of both of them, but I only have the epilogue left. I'm gonna finish it tonight, but since I don't know at what page the clock turned 12 and Wednesday became Thursday, I'm gonna put all these pages on Wednesday. But I started and finished the last book in the Wildcats League series tonight, and I also finished Rally earlier. Rally was 5-star, easy 5-star. This is going to be a 4.5, I think, just because of one small, tiny thing. But Rally was easily a 5-star, and this is a 4.5, close second favorite. Oh, Jesus. As you guys saw, I finished Rally last night, and I both started and finished Merit, definitely my 2 favorite books of that series. Rally was a 5-star, Merit was a 4.5-star, I think I said that last night. Both had me bawling my eyes out. I don't know how much of that was my period hormones and how much of that were the actual books. Merit was definitely the actual book, because that book was horribly sad. But Rally might just have been my, I was about to say pregnancy hormones, but it's the hormones that are proving that I'm not pregnant, you know, because it's period hormones instead. Anyway, so I'm not sure if I'm in a fantasy or romance mood. The last 4 books I read were romances, because it was that entire series. But before that, I read a lot of fantasy, and I was kind of fed up with fantasy, but now I'm not sure what I'm in the mood for. I have 2 short stories on my Kindle. One is by Abby Jimenez and one is by Ashley Poston, and they're romance short stories, so I'm thinking that maybe I will read those 2. But I only have 2 physical books left with me that I can read, and then I'm gonna have to read only on my Kindle. But I'm going home on Tuesday, so it's not that bad. But I'm not going home to a massive TBR, because my physical TBR is very small at the moment, because I've only been buying new releases for the past like 6 months or even more than that. So I have like under 10 books on my physical TBR at home. But what I have to choose between here is Flames of Chaos, which I think is an adult fantasy, and Forest of Souls, which I'm pretty sure is a young adult fantasy. And I'm picking up Forest of Souls. It's taken me a long, like, this has been on my TBR for many years, many years. But for some reason, I haven't picked it up. I haven't bought it. I kind of forgot that it was on my list of books that I wanted to buy. And then I saw it on Vinted, and someone was selling a signed special edition copy for a very cheap price. So I finally bought it, and this is signed, and it's also, the dust jacket is reversible, and just the cover is absolutely stunning. But I'm a person who reads hardbacks without the dust jacket. What I really want to read is Sunrise on the Reaping. I am desperate to read that book, but my copy won't arrive until the 28th of March. So I'm going to have to wait on it, and I'm not spending the same amount of money on an ebook version as the physical copy costs, because it's pretty much the same. So I'm not doing that, and I really do want to read it physically. So I'm gonna have to suffer in silence and wait. So I'm jumping into this. If it turns out I'm not in a fantasy mood, I'm gonna pause this and then pick up the novellas. They're only like 60 something pages each, so I would blow through those. And then I might go back to Forest of Souls if that is the case. Otherwise, I might just read this entire thing, and if this is really good and it turns out I'm in a fantasy mood, I think you get the plan. So that's the plan. It's a late Thursday evening, if I hadn't said that already. It's already like getting dark out and I haven't read anything yet today. I haven't done anything today except watch adolescents, and I'm really postponing studying, but I'm just so fed up with the teachers that we have at the moment and with the assignments, because they're just ridiculous assignments that have just been handed to us just because. There are no value, there are no importance whatsoever. It's the same assignments for the same course, and there's 3 assignments and they're all very similar and about the exact same thing, and I'm just doing the same thing 3 times, like thrice over. I'm writing the same things and I have to write 2400 words and I'm just sick of it. So I'm postponing studying with books and TV shows. And now my mum is coming and she wants to eat her dinner, so I'm gonna stop yapping and get to reading. So it's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday, and it's another kind of late update. It's like 5 in the afternoon, and I haven't read anything yet today because I've been studying. But last night, Mum and I, as we ate dinner, started watching Love is Blind Sweden, and I kind of watched it with her because she likes those Swedish programs. I like them when they're not in Sweden, because I cringe so much when it's Swedish people. But you know, that kind of trash TV just gets you hooked and you can't stop watching. So we stayed up really late watching like more than half of the episodes that were out, so I didn't read anything. And then instead of reading before I went to bed because my eyes were so tired, I decided to listen to an audiobook. And I continued with the one that I was already listening to, which is A Torch Against the Night, which is my reread of the An Ember in the Ashes series by Isabel Tahir, but it's the second book in the series. And I listened to like 2.5 hours of that, but I don't know, since I have the physical book at home in, like, not here at Mum's. If I were at home, then I could have checked like from the chapter where I started to the chapter where I ended in my physical copy how many pages that is. But since I don't have that here, I can't like equate 2.5 hours to pages. Especially like since I'm listening to double speed, you know, all of that. So I'm just gonna ignore that and say that I did start A Forest of Souls before we had dinner, and I read 32 pages. It jumps from 31 to 33. So I suppose 31 pages, because one page is just like blank. Page 32 is blank, it doesn't even have a number. So it jumps from 31 to 33. So I only got to chapter 3. The chapters are relatively long. Like, they're not long chapters, but they're not short chapters either. So I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. Like, I haven't read enough to know how I feel about it yet. But it didn't have me like desperate to continue, because otherwise I would have continued reading it last night. So I don't know if I'm gonna continue this today or if I'm going to read one of those novels. I read romance books a lot faster than I read fantasy books. That's just how it is. But I think I kind of also burnt myself out the first couple of days of this week, which happens sometimes because, you know, sometimes I'm in the mood to read a lot, and that's usually like at the beginning of the week. And then towards the end of the week, like when the weekend comes, I'm kind of opposite to a lot of people then, because when the weekend comes, that's when I do stuff with other people, and like that's when Mum and I want to watch something in the evening, and then like, you know, I don't get as much time to read, because in the weekdays we don't sit down to have dinner and watch things together in the same way as we do on the weekends. So I'm like, in a way, get less reading time on the weekends. And now I also have a couple of assignments that I must do before next weekend in school, which I would do this weekend, so that's also taking time. But we'll see, But that's my little update. So I read 31 pages last night, and as I will have edited in a picture of the book and, you know, the page count, but still. But I hope that at least I'll be able to finish this before I go home, because I want to read something on my Kindle when I'm traveling home and not have a physical book. But I will be leaving with one unread book from Mum's, and that is one of the books that I brought with me here, which is kind of funny. But that is Flames of Chaos, so I will have to read that when I'm at home. Because as I said, I want to finish this before I go home, so I won't be starting another physical book so close to traveling home, because I want to read on my Kindle when I'm traveling, because I just think that's easier. And for some reason it makes me less like train sick if I read, or like motion sickness I suppose it is, when I read on my Kindle than when I read physically. But I am intrigued by this. There's always in the fantasy book quite a lot of world building. It's a lot of paragraphs that's, heavy with text and not as much communication. Like dialogue is what I mean by that. And there's a massive glossary that's like 5, 6, 7 pages at the beginning, which is always kind of intimidating when you start a new book, because I'm like, oh, it's all of this are just new words and like things you need to know, like the Deadwood and Drake and Draconis and Falcon, Human, Shadowless Shaman, Blades, Birth, like BYRTH, the Falcon Warrior, Hatchlet, Queen's Company, Monks, the Mother Serpent, Princess Company, Queen's King Shadow, Raven, the Sanctuary of the Sisters, Shaman Born, the Twins, Boss Talwyn, Bean. Good afternoon guys. So last night I started and finished both of the novellas. One, The Worst Wingman Ever by Abby Jimenez, and then With Any Luck by Ashley Poston. I gave them both 3.5 stars. They were good, but like they were so good that I wanted them to be full novellas, but because, no wait. They were so good that I wanted them to be full novels, but since they were novellas, I don't feel like you get invested, or like, I don't know, I don't feel like you have the time to rate it 5 stars, But they were really good novellas, so good that I wanted them to be full novels. So that's really the rating, but that's why I rated them 3.5 stars. And then I read a couple of more pages. I read until chapter 10 last night in Forest of Souls after I finished Abby Jimenez's novella, and then I read to chapter 10 and I was on page 31, so I read until page 100 and it's long chapters. 100, no wait, that's chapter 8. I am on chapter 10. I'm stupid. I read until page 129, so in total that means I read 197 pages, because Worst Wingman Ever was 58 pages long and With Any Luck was only 41 pages, and then I read 98 pages when I continued Forest of Souls, so 197. And I've read another chapter in Forest of Souls today. I'm kind of slow going through this, so I'm only on page 149, so I'm not even halfway through, and it's kind of meh. It's not giving me much. Like, it's a YA fantasy. It's kind of a typical YA fantasy. I do think that the magic she has awakened in herself is interesting. I do think the world building, I'm slightly confused with the rank of different people and like the way that the world is built, and with this like forest being the in-between and the Spider King being like, because at some point there was something about like someone who goes in doesn't come out, but then that doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know, I might have misunderstood. I just feel like I'm not having an easy time following it because it's not capturing my attention. So I find my mind straying whenever I read this, and I need to go back and kind of like reread passages just because I'm like not paying attention when I'm actually reading it, because I find myself wanting to do something else or read something else. So I'm gonna keep reading this on the side because I do want to give it a couple of more pages before and if I decide to DNF it, because as I said, the magic, like, it's just starting to get going. I feel like the beginning was kind of slow. I feel like it's just starting to become interesting, but then it's not that long either. It's like not even 400 pages. So I don't know. So I'm gonna open my Kindle and I'm gonna see if I can find something else to read. Let's get going. Get close to you guys. I'm gonna sit like this. Hi guys, it's Monday, so we've finished the what I read in a week, or how much I can read in a week. Anyway, we finished off quite strong last night. What was that night? As you've seen, it's been quite up and down with how much I read, depending on the day and depending on, you know, what I'm doing, how much else I have to do, if I get sucked into a trashy TV reality show on Netflix or not. You know, things like that affect it. So on Saturday, did I even speak to you guys yesterday? I don't think I did. So on Saturday, I finished Forest of Souls. I found it as an audiobook and I listened to it as I read along, and I felt like that helped me to get through it. It was still kind of heavy to muddle through for me because I wasn't that invested, but it had potential. But I ended up giving it I can't speak. I can neither think nor speak, so I can't speak. I ended up giving it 2 stars because I felt like the characters lacked depth, and this like relationship that was supposed to be like, I love this person so much that I accidentally awakened a power that nobody has seen in a long time to bring this person back to life. But you know, once again, when you're like told about a relationship and a friendship and not like shown the relationship or the friendship, and I just felt like it lacked depth, and the like world building felt a little messy to me because I couldn't really follow it. Like, we had that massive glossary, but I felt like what I needed more than the glossary was a map, because I was like, where are we? Where is everything in relation to each other? Why does that mean that this is like neutral ground, but then like not I don't know. It was, I couldn't keep track of like anything. Then, as you know, I started Never Keep, and on Saturday I only read like 32 pages, I think, something like that. You guys will know that better than I did because you've seen it more recently than I have. So I didn't get far into it, and it did, the thing is, it kind of put me off because based on the blurb, it did not begin the way I had expected it to, or like, you know, because I already know the Solaria world and I knew that this was in the same world as Zodiac Academy, I was very confused with like the world building, and it didn't make sense in my head. But then after the like first couple of chapters where we are 1 year before they're supposed to begin the academy that is talked about in the blurb, and that academy is Never Keep, it's called Never Keep, so that's what was like mentioned in the blurb, which is why I went into it expecting something specific, you know, expecting something kind of similar to Zodiac Academy in that, you know, academy way. This is very different to that, but it's still very good. Like, once we got past, there was like a 1 year later blip, like a page where it said 1 year later, and I was like, all right, now we're getting going, and we really did. So it was a bit slow to start. It was a lot to take in the start because it was a lot of action intermingled with finding out, like learning a bunch of different people and names, and learning the world building and like adapting that view of Solaria in my mind to this part of the Zodiac Academy world, you know. So it was a lot to take in. They did do it in a good way, and I think that if this was the first book of theirs that I had read and I hadn't read Zodiac Academy or had no prior knowledge, it was a very good beginning. Last night I read 200 something pages of this, and I just flew through it. I'm at the 45% mark. It is really good. I am really liking it. It's still like, it is fast-paced, but I'm waiting for something to happen that we are building towards, so there's a lot of tension. And what annoys me a little bit is that it's from the perspective of two different female characters. I like both female characters, but I'm more curious about one of them than the other. So like the other one's chapter I kind of muddle through sometimes because it ends, you know, when the characters that you're interested in, their chapter ends and it ends on kind of a cliffhanger, you're like, I just want to know what happens there, but then you have to go to someone else's perspective and get through that before you can get back to the other person. So that's the only thing that like annoys me a little bit, but at the same time it makes me want to keep reading because I want to get to that chapter. So it's a really brilliant way of keeping you invested and keeping me going, you know. So recap: Monday I read 242 pages, Tuesday 405, Wednesday 630, Thursday a whole 31 pages on Thursday, and Friday 197, Saturday 286, and Sunday 250, a lot more than I thought I read yesterday. And the total then for the entire week was 2041 pages, which is not bad. It's kind of more than I thought it was going to be. I finished 5 books, 2 novellas, and I started a 6th book. That was a lot more than I expected it to be going in, but as I mentioned, I have never kept track of this. That sounded like a car crash. I've never kept track of this. I've never, you know, noted it down, or like really, I keep track of what I read, like how many books I read over a month, but I've never like broken that down into how many books I read a week. So it'd be interesting to continue doing videos like this to see, like, to get an idea of how much it fluctuates and how much like in general I can read. But you know, some days I read more, some days I read less, some days I have the time to read more, some days I don't have the time, some days I'm in a mood to read a lot and then I will read a lot, and I will also like consume the books that are really good faster than I would consume books that aren't really good. And like, if I hadn't found Forest of Souls as an audiobook, I either would have DNF'd it or it would have taken me a week to get through. So that also matters. Like, sometimes you need to shift the forum and like add on an element to make it easier to get through a book that you're not that interested in. But also, like, DNF books that don't bring you joy. Don't be like me. I'm trying to be better with that because I don't want to spend a lot of time on books that I don't actually have a good time with. But my perfectionism also have a bit of an issue of leaving things unfinished. So I'm I'm working on it. I guess that's where we leave this video. I'm in the middle of Never Keep. I am enjoying it. Whether you've read any of Valenti or Peckham's books before, I highly recommend all of their books, but I do recommend this already as well. Like, it's a solid fantasy so far, and there's just something about the way that they write that it's so easy to inhale and get really invested in and really excited about. Have a nice day, a nice week, a nice month. Be kind to each other. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.